Welcome to In the Community with Tiffany K.
And we're back within the community. I'm Tiffany K. And today I have Patricia with me, who is the executive director of the Rappahannock Area Red Cross chapter. Patricia, you've been in here with me before, so how are you today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me, Tiffany.
Thank you for coming back, and especially during this time, because there is a very big need for blood.
Yes.
And that's one of the first things I want to start talking about. Now,
Sure.
We know that the Red Cross has issued a national blood appeal for donors. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what the issues are that are happening?
Absolutely. The Red Cross is experiencing an emergency blood shortage as the nation faces the lowest number of people giving blood in the past 20 years.
Wow.
Not just in our area, but across the country. Blood donations are needed now to help alleviate the shortage and to ensure life-saving medical procedures are not delayed. That shortage is really, it's been, over the past 20 years, it's been about a 40% decline since 2 decades. And, that's typically made worse during the holidays. People are busy, they're traveling, they're out of town, and we've had periods of bad weather. And, we get that. We understand that people are busy and life happens, but it's, we're just trying to get people out to brave the cold and to give to help alleviate that shortage.
Right.
When fewer people give, even those small disruptions, this past holiday season, and this is nationally, this is not just here in Fredericksburg, but it's nationally, we had nearly a 7,000 unit shortfall in donations just between Christmas and New Year's alone. And that type of deficit can have a huge impact on the availability of blood and a dramatic consequence for those that need emergency blood transfusions.
Oh my goodness.
That shortage could impact elective procedures as well, causing healthcare facilities to prioritize the use for emergency procedures as opposed to scheduled surgeries. Just the other day, we heard a story, and this is, it's heartbreaking, but it does have a good ending as I get into the story.
Don't make me cry yet.
It has a good ending, but just to give people perspective on how the type of impact this has. And this was down in our coastal chapter in the Norfolk area.
Okay.
There was a young girl. I won't name names, but I believe she was 6, almost 7.
Okay.
And she was scheduled or awaiting a liver transplant. So everything was lining up. They had put her on the medications that she needed to have prior to the surgery. The surgery was scheduled. It was all set to go.
Okay.
And she was admitted into the hospital hours away from the surgery. There was not enough of her special blood type to proceed.
Oh my goodness.
So here's this family who has been waiting and waiting for their child's wellness to have the surgery for this much needed liver transplant, and the surgery had to be canceled. Oh. Now, fortunately, working with Red Cross suppliers, we were able to pull blood from other areas to get to that facility, and the surgery happened the next day. But just imagine the worry and the heartache that family went through during that 24-hour period of time. So it is a good ending. She had the surgery. Everything is doing well, but it makes me emotional just thinking about it. That's the impact that your blood can have.
Yeah, and I immediately go to, what if that wouldn't have happened? Exactly what you said.
Exactly.
What if it wouldn't have happened?
Right.
It wouldn't have gotten the happy ending.
Right.
And I'm sure it's happening all around the country, though. Everyone's getting the happy ending,
It is.
unfortunately.
Thankfully, we're not there yet here in the Fredericksburg area, but we are calling on your listeners. And again, thank you so much for having me on. But we're calling on everyone to please roll up your sleeves. This is a lot more than just, that blood drive that you hear about on a commercial every once in a while. This is really impacting people's lives. And not just the emergency car accidents and things that you see on the TV shows. These are scheduled appointments. These are treatments for cancer patients, sickle cell patients, mothers giving birth who may need a blood transfusion. It's so many different uses for life-saving blood, and the only way to get it, is through donations. It cannot be manufactured. It's not an artificial process. It can only be done through the generosity of blood donors who are willing to go to the appointments and roll up their sleeve.
So how can people in the area get involved?
Well, there's a lot of ways to get involved, and unfortunately, surprisingly for some, only 3% of eligible Americans donate blood.
Really?
Our local Red Cross is very fortunate. Even though that percentage is low, the people that do give we call them rock star blood donors because they are there every 56 days. That's the wait period between blood donations. So about every 8 weeks, they can come in and give, and they are there with their sleeves rolled up and ready to go. So
that's amazing.
We are so fortunate to have those generous donors, but we need more. We need more to meet the growing demand for blood and to help compensate for people who may miss an appointment due to illness or travel or what have you. So we are constantly looking for new blood donors. We are encouraging your listeners, anyone interested in saving lives, to please make an appointment today. You can schedule an appointment. And I think it's fairly easy. You could just go to the Red Cross website. It's redcross.org or redcrossblood.org. You can use either one.
Okay.
Register online. You can call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Or my favorite is the Blood Donor app. Make sure it's the Red Cross Blood Donor app.
Okay.
You can register through the app. You just simply put in your zip code, and it will tell you where the closest drives are to your area, the dates. You can sort it by date, distance, what have you. But that app is there to make your scheduling needs so convenient. You get reminders. You can schedule. It keeps track of, of course, your blood type never changes, but it gives you your blood type. But my favorite feature of the Blood Donor app is the ability to track your blood.
That's really cool.
And yes, it is.
Wow.
It is, because not only it from the day you donate, it'll go into processing.
Okay.
And then it goes to, the lab, or sometimes it may go into storage, but then when it is used, then you get a notification that tells you that where and when your blood was used. And I get goosebumps every time this comes up, because it'll tell me where, what hospital my blood was used at, or infusion center if it was used for a cancer patient. So it's such a great feeling to get that notification and know that 40 minutes of my day helped to save someone's life. So yes, I goosebumps and I get all emotional every time it comes through. I'm just a big sucker when it comes to stuff like that.
I love that, though, because what's so unique about that app and being able to see where your blood is going, it's similar to many people saying, they want to be able to donate to a charity, right? Money-wise, but they want to know where their money's going. So it's like wanting to see that. Same way with this. It's really cool to be able to see where that's going. Where is it being helpful?
Right, and know how your blood impacted someone's life.
Exactly.
1 unit of blood, which is typically what is taken on a normal blood donation, 1 unit of blood can save up to 3 lives.
Wow.
So that too is really, yes, you give a financial donation, it might buy something, but you're giving something that's saving someone's life, and that is huge. Now, just the website and the app as well can also give you additional information. For example, we do have to follow federal guidelines when it comes to the safety of blood. So there may be medications that you're taking that would put you ineligible to give.
Okay.
You have to be at least 17 years old or 16 with parental consent.
Okay.
You have to weigh 110 pounds. And I laugh about that one.
I wish I weighed 110 pounds.
Well, when I first wanted to give blood, we had a blood drive at my high school.
Okay.
And I wanted to give, and I was all psyched up to give. My dad was a regular blood donor, so he set a great example for me. And I'm all hyped up to give, and the lady said, "Oh, honey, step up here on the scale." And she said, "You can't give blood today." And I was crushed. Because back then, I didn't weigh 110 pounds. I, easily meet that mark now.
When
but,
we're all teenagers, we can easily.
But that is one of the requirements. And we have those in place to protect the health of the donor and to protect the ultimate health of the recipient. So we do have to follow those guidelines. And again, it's due to safety for everyone involved. They check your hemoglobin before you donate. So if your levels are low, then your blood is not taken. And that's more to protect you, because if we're removing a unit of blood and you already have low levels, then that could cause you to have a bad experience. And so, again, all about safety and
good things to know. And I'm speaking with Patricia, the executive director with the Rappahannock Area Red Cross chapter. Now, we were talking about eligibility. So what happens if, say, someone is ineligible to donate? Are there other ways they can help?
Absolutely. That is a possibility that, for one reason or another, you're not able to donate yourself, but you can encourage others to donate. Talk to your family. I mentioned my dad. He was a great role model for me in giving blood, because it was something he always did. Okay. He's at a point now with medications he can no longer give, but he's encouraging others to do so. So, model that behavior, encourage others to give, and you don't have to, it's not all about just giving blood, but you can give your time. We have volunteers that work our blood drives. They are not sticking people. We do have paid licensed professionals that do that.
Good thing to make clear.
Yes, make that very clear. We don't have just people off the street coming in and poking your arms. But volunteers are there really as the hospitality. We call them blood donor ambassadors. They check people in. They make sure they have a snack. They welcome them. They make sure they're comfortable and thank them for donating. And if the person is interested, help them schedule the next appointment. So blood donor ambassadors are, that's a way to give back. We only ask that people work one blood drive a month.
Okay.
So fairly simple to do. We also have, we call them blood transportation specialists.
Ooh.
Yes, very important, but they're the ones who deliver the blood to the hospitals.
Oh, wow.
We have a processing lab in Richmond, so just down the highway a little ways, and the blood donor, the blood transportation specialists, they bring the blood to the local hospitals.
Okay.
So that is another opportunity to be involved if you can't donate yourself.
And a very important job as well.
Yes, and very critically important for sure.
And, blood collection isn't the only way that the Red Cross is involved in the community. So I want to move on a little bit to talk about what are the different ways that the Rappahannock Area Red Cross chapter is involved.
Well, Tiffany, for more than 140 years, the Red Cross has been around helping prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies, helping people prepare for, respond to, and recover from disasters have been at the heart of the Red Cross mission since our founding. We learn or we teach life-saving skills so community members can better prepare when the need arises. We do this every day because the Red Cross is needed every day right here in our community. And I want to stress that again. We're the Rappahannock chapter of the Red Cross. Yes, we're part of a national organization, but the Rappahannock chapter is here for you, here for our community, our neighbors, our friends, our family. So just making sure everyone on air, on the listeners, understand that this is your local Red Cross.
And I think that's important too, because as you said, a lot of times you hear Red Cross, you think of the national chapter.
Sure.
You don't realize that they're right there in the community.
Right. Well, and the national organization is the one that gets the notoriety.
Of course.
Yeah. You major weather disasters, you see the Red Cross trucks, and I've been there on those trucks myself, going in to help in disaster zones and after hurricanes, wildfires, what have you. But your local Rappahannock chapter, we see our biggest disaster in the community as home fires. That's our most important and most deadly disaster threat here locally. The loss from a home fire can be physically, emotionally, and financially devastating, especially for those who are already struggling. And Red Cross workers, mostly volunteers, are on scene within minutes to provide emergency financial assistance to help families pay for basic needs like food, shelter, clothing, maybe prescription medications. And then we have follow-up caseworkers who help provide resource referrals, mental health services, and spiritual care for those still in need. And a local firefighter shared a story with me one day, and this really was touching. He shared that how grateful he was for the Red Cross because he knew that the Red Cross was there taking care of the family members while he took care of the fire. So it is an emotional experience, and one that our volunteers are trained for before they go into it. And the help, the assistance that they can provide is just immense.
It's very powerful to say that. I just wanted to say really quick, because the firefighters have a job to do, and that's to put the fire out.
Right.
But you don't realize what's going on behind the scenes with the family and what they're dealing with and seeing this all happen. And they can only do so much.
And sometimes it's just a hug, putting a warm blanket around someone's shoulder, being there to listen during this devastating time for them. You're not expected to give them all the answers, but sometimes they just need somebody to hold on to. Yeah. And, that is one of the opportunities that our volunteers provide. But, that is the disaster side of it.
Right.
And while we're happy to be able to be in that position to respond and help people recover,
of course,
what we really like to focus on is helping people prepare. And while we're committed to those in need, we want to get ahead of the disaster. And we conduct what's called Be Red Cross Ready disaster preparedness training. We do hands-only CPR, we do fire safety in schools, churches, community organizations, and basically any group that will invite us in and allow us to talk.
Oh, wow.
We also conduct evacuation and shelter drills with local emergency management officials to ensure Red Cross volunteers and our partner organizations are prepared to assist should a larger scale disaster strike our area. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't need to be a major hurricane like we see on the news to require local evacuation. We sit right here on the I-95 corridor with major north-south and east-west railways. So who knows what could happen that might spark the need for an evacuation. So better to be prepared. Another initiative we have in our community is what we call Sound the Alarm. Red Cross will provide and install free smoke alarms for anyone who wants or needs smoke alarms. Not only are the alarms provided and installed free of charge, but the workers also review home fire safety tips and the importance of emergency escape plans with the families while they're there putting the alarms in.
These are such important plans to have because, I always say this. You hear about it in school, right? We all make these safety plans when you're in school and you talk about evacuations and if there's a tornado or fire. But then when you get home, you don't really talk
about it. Well, and that I mentioned earlier about that Be Red Cross Ready. That's part of the training that we do in schools. Just the other day, I was at a local elementary school and we were having that conversation. And we always start out, we ask the kids, how many of you have had a fire drill here at school? And of course, they all raise their hands.
Yep.
And then how many have had a fire drill at home? And pretty much no one raises their hand. We can always tell there'll be one or two kids in every group whose parent or a family member is probably in the fire department. Yeah. So they're the ones, we have sprinklers, they have the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they don't have fire drills. So we go through the presentation, go through the exercises, and then, tell them we don't have homework for you, but we're sending homework home for the adults in your household.
Oh, I'm sure they love that.
They love it. And then we encourage them that they get to be the teacher and we give them the templates for an evacuation plan, to how to draw out a floor plan, if you will, of your house and what would be the number one escape route, what would be the number two, and then give them other fire safety tips.
Of course.
And, let them hear what a home smoke alarm sounds like.
Okay. I never even thought of that, but that's such a cool way to do that because you're letting the kid become the teacher.
The
and now
kid
they
becomes
think
the
they
teacher.
know it all.
Yes, and they are happy to go home. And then to tie that back into Sound the Alarm, we send them home with flyers and instructions on how families can sign up to get free alarms.
Oh, okay.
So after each of those presentations, and the other day I talked to nearly 400 students, and that was just Friday, but we've already had 7 calls.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
For people requesting free smoke alarms. So yes, it's one of the programs that I'm super, super proud of. And our volunteers are so excited to do this.
Right.
Because they really feel like they're helping to keep families safe.
Oh, that's
and so,
awesome.
yeah, it's very, very moving. But that is our Sound the Alarm program.
Okay.
We have a few others. We Red Cross got started, Clara Barton on the battlefields, and so we have a lot of history with our service to armed forces. And our community is not immune to the number of military families that experience multiple deployments, sometimes, both mom and dad, and the associated challenges of physical and emotional separations. We, dealing with injuries and so much more. And since our founding, in war and in peace, the Red Cross Service to Armed Forces team members offer a web of support to families and veterans at home, on military installations, and alongside deployed service members with emergency communication assistance. So if someone at home is ill, then the Red Cross can be that connection to get in touch with their loved one that may be stationed overseas.
Okay.
We have access to critical community resources, support to wounded warriors and veterans, and resiliency training for those returning home, because sometimes that adjustment can be tough.
Yes.
We love getting the community involved in our service to armed forces. For example, just recently, Stafford Middle School, their Junior Honor Society, conducted a Treats for Troops drive.
Oh, wow.
It was actually during this past Halloween. Students in that group donated nearly 100 pounds of Halloween candy, and Red Cross shipped that to our troops that are serving in Poland.
Oh,
we
my
have
gosh.
Red Cross volunteers there. Wherever there's a base that has over 3,000 troops, we have Red Cross volunteers there to support them.
Oh, that's amazing.
So yes,
I love hearing all of these different programs.
I mean, it's mind-blowing, when you come into it and think about all these different little moving parts,
Of course.
but ways for the community to get involved. We do have training services. We offer at no charge the hands-only CPR, but if you do want to get CPR certified, we offer that as well. And I would challenge anyone to think back. If they've ever had a swim lesson, taken a lifeguarding class, babysitting classes, received CPR certification, it might not be that the Red Cross was teaching that class, but the instructor of that class more than likely received training and certification through the Red Cross Train the Trainer program. The training services is a division of the American Red Cross with that mission to spread knowledge and educate as many members of the community as possible. So we encourage you to check out the website, redcross.org, to find a program or a course. They're often online courses that you can take for free in different health and safety measures. So, visit the website, check it out.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, absolutely. And practice makes perfect, especially,
Also true.
yes, when it comes to that, again, going back to kids and that whole fire safety, fire drill. They practice at school for a reason, so why not practice it at home?
Exactly. I'm speaking with Patricia, the executive director of the Rappahannock Area Red Cross chapter. We're getting a lot of good information today, all about the blood drives, about how the different ways that the chapter is involved in the community. And what's one thing that you wish the community knew more about the work of the Red Cross?
For me, that is a great question. And when I think about it, I guess for people to know, yes, the Red Cross is a national organization, but this is your local Red Cross. The Rappahannock chapter Red Cross is your Red Cross, and we're here to meet your needs, and we need your support, whether it's through life-saving blood donations, as we've talked about, volunteering, serving on a board or committee, just providing that much-needed financial support. We could not exist without the generosity of our volunteers and the financial support of our donors. We just simply couldn't. So,
and how are the different ways that people can get information and get involved? Where can they go for that information?
Well, I've mentioned it before, and
Yes.
I'll keep beating that horse. Redcross.org for volunteer opportunities. All of those services that I mentioned earlier, those are done by volunteers. About 91, just under 91% of our workforce is volunteer driven.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yes. So going on to redcross.org and exploring the different volunteer opportunities to make a donation. The website is very simple to navigate. If they're interested in giving blood, they can go directly to redcrossblood.org to go to the donation site, but they can always get there through the redcross.org as well. So either one. Calling 1-800-RED-CROSS, simple enough. But anyone who wants to get involved in the blood donation program, download the Red Cross Blood Donor app. It's free, and that's such an easy and convenient way to make a blood donation appointment and to track your progress.
Especially in an app-driven world. I think that's one of the best things about that.
It is. It really is. And if someone has a very specific question, and I'm putting myself out there.
Oh, no.
But if they have a specific question and would like to get involved or explore ways to get involved, send me an email. It's pretty simple. It's patricia.wolfrey. That's WOLFREY. patricia.wolfrey@redcross.org.
It's pretty simple. You put it out there. So.
I put it out there. I know.
If you get any weird ones, it's not our fault.
This must be someone from Tiffany. No.
Right?
You know what? There's no
odd question.
Too weird question. Yeah, there might be some weird ones, but I'm not challenging.
This is not a challenge.
This is not a weirdness challenge, but I do encourage people to reach out if they have questions or want to explore an opportunity, for us to come in and do a training, to talk about volunteer. I'm going to a local business tomorrow to talk with their staff about volunteer opportunities.
Okay.
So I'm more than happy to talk with someone about the possibilities and happy to answer any questions.
Right.
patricia.wolfrey@redcross.org. Love those dots in there.
Love those dots in there. And honestly, that's the biggest thing, is getting the word out right now. Getting the word out for all of these different services that the Rappahannock Area Red Cross chapter do provide. And I want to touch one more time on what we started with. There is a serious need for blood as well right now. I know that's the biggest thing we've been talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
And so just putting it back out there, if you can, if you're eligible, donate. And if you can't, encourage others to donate.
Absolutely. And if I may, whether you're a first-time donor, first time in a long time, or a loyal blood donor contributor, right now through January 31st, we are having a special promotion that anyone who donates is registered to win an all-expense paid trip to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
so
that's an incentive.
Yes,
wow.
If you are eligible, roll up your sleeves and get out to a blood drive near you by January 31st. You have time to do that, and hopefully you'll get hooked and understand how your blood impacts the community and how you're saving lives.
And of course, we know it's not about the prizes, but that's always a great incentive to have.
That is exactly right. I think the prize is knowing that you have impacted someone's life, possibly saved a life. That's the real prize.
Well, Patricia, it's been so lovely having you in today. I always love being able to talk about what the Rappahannock Area Red Cross chapter does in the community.
Thank you.
And especially when there's a need, we want to make sure that we get the word out there so that we can accommodate that need as well.
Yes, thank you.
So, Patricia, thank you so much for coming in. Remember to go donate. And if you can't donate blood, there's other ways to get involved as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And that'll do it for In the Community this week. If you are a nonprofit and need to bring attention to your cause or organization, please reach out through this station's website, and we will see you next week.